So I will be honest with you and say that there are certain topics in the class, very few of them, but there are certain ones that when I see them on the agenda, I just die a little bit inside, because I know that you're going to struggle so mightily. Have you ever wanted to teach someone or show somebody how to do something, and it's so easy for you, and you get so frustrated, not at them, but for them, that they can't seem to grasp it? You ever tried? You ever been in that situation?
An older person with a smartphone.
Okay, older people with smartphones, right? Or younger people with anything not smart. I'm just kidding. Yeah. But, you know, that is the experience I often have when we get to amortization factors or loan factors. Now, I am going to tell you to do something I probably haven't said in a long time. Take out your textbook. If you actually brought it with you, since I know we use them so often. You can share, as long as somebody at your table's got one or somebody in your vicinity, because all you're going to need it for is there's a chart on page 449 that I want you to open up to. It's the only page number I know in the whole book, because it's the only one I use. Page 449. This is called a loan factor chart. You need one at your table? You got it? Oh, look at her. She got it laminated, and, you know, she's ready to go. She's already memorized the whole thing. You need a book? This one got wet on that page, but it's still there. So this is an amortization chart, or a loan factor chart. The first thing that's tough about this stuff is the fact that you have to memorize this chart. That's the toughest hurdle we have. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I can't even keep a straight face on that one, you know? It's like, you could not possibly memorize this chart. You will always be provided the chart, or you'll just be told what the amortization factor is. Everything you see in this chart is what we call an amortization factor, or a loan factor. It looks a lot more confusing than it actually is. First of all, it's arranged by the length of the loan. If you look at the columns, what does the first column say at the top of it? 10-year loans, right? Those are all 10-year loans. And then what's the next column? 15-year notes. And then you get to 20-year notes, and eventually you get to what? 30-year notes, which is, by the way, the most common. The most common is a 30-year note. Does that make sense for everybody? All right, so that's across the top of the chart. Look down the left side. What do you notice that's all the way down the left side? Nothing but what? Rates, interest rates. So, here's what this chart does. If I give you an interest rate, and I give you a loan term, how long it is, you can look up the amortization factor. So, just play this game real quickly. Give me the amortization factor for a 15-year note at 7% interest. 8.98. Is that what everybody said? 8.98. And it's weird that you would say it that way, because I'm pretty sure if I did this, you wouldn't say it that way. What would you say if you saw that symbol in front of it? That symbol's there. They just don't print it all the way because it would get obnoxious to see that many dollar signs in it. That number is dollars and cents. It's $8.98. It's not 8.98. It's $8.98. What that number is a loan payment. That is a payment number on a very specific loan. Well, what's the interest rate on that loan? 7%. What's the term of the loan? 15 years. The only thing you don't know is the amount of the loan, and I'm going to tell you what the amount is, because every number in that chart represents a payment on the same amount, $1,000. That's the payment at that interest rate on that length of time if you borrow $1,000. Here's how that's useful, though. If you know what the payment is for $1,000, can you figure out the payment if they borrow $2,000?
Yes.
By doing what? Multiply by what? 2. It would be $8.98 times 2, right? Not times 2,000. We understand they borrowed 2,000, but because the payment is for how much?
Per thousand.
Per thousand, we would just multiply times 2. Does that make sense for everybody? What if they borrowed 5,000? What will we multiply by?
5.
By 5. What if they borrowed 50,000? Could we calculate their monthly payment? We would multiply by what? 50. Now here's where I'm going to pull my hair out. What if they borrowed $372,000? What am I going to multiply by?
300. Oh wait.
It's not any harder.
372.
372. All you do is drop the 1,000 off because it's a payment per what? Per 1,000. When it was 1,000, you multiplied it times 1. When it was 2,000, you multiplied it times 2. You just drop those last 3 zeros off. Well, guess what? That's what you do no matter how big the loan is. You can calculate the payment. So, how much would that $372,000 note be? What would the payment be on that thing? $8.98 times 372. How much would that be? 33, how much? And 50 cents? 56 cents. $3,340.56. Everybody agree with that number? That's the principal and interest payment on that loan. And all you needed to know was the amount of the loan.
Because of that 7%.
Because we told you it was at 7% interest and at 15 years. Does that make sense? Question?
Sorry.
She's thinking of payment too high.
No. So that's the annual payment.
No.
That's
That's the monthly payment.
That's what I want to make sure I understand.
That's the monthly payment for principal and interest on that loan. So for a $372,000 loan, at what interest rate?
7.
7%. For what term?
15.
15 years. The monthly payment is $3,340.56. Could you calculate the monthly payment of any loan knowing the interest rate, the term, and the amount?
Yes.
Absolutely. You don't need a mortgage calculator for it. You got everything you need to know right there in that chart. And they're either going to give you the chart or they're just going to straight up give you the amortization factor. So for example, they might just say a loan amortizes at 4.78. Well, that's $4.78 for every what? $1,000 that is borrowed. Does that make sense for everybody? So you're just going to take that number and multiply it by whatever number of thousands. Just imagine yourself stacking them up in thousands. And every time you put a stack of $1,000 on the table, how much do they owe per month? $4.78 for every stack of $1,000.
So is this how they did like before, like all the calculators come out or something major?
Is that what they did before the calculators? Yes, absolutely. When I got into business, we used to carry this around in our pocket.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, folks, it's still super useful.
Okay.
What if I told you on the fly I could take you and show you a house, and I could show you a $180,000 house, and I could show you a $200,000 house, and you go, gosh, I don't know if I can afford that. And I could look at you and go, well, it's $100 a month difference. Would that be useful information? And I could do it on the fly, just like that. You know why? Well, yeah, I have been doing it a long time. I want you to do me a favor. Interest rates currently are about 4.5%. What's the most common term on a loan?
30.
Look at 4.5%. And look at 30 years. What do you see? $5.07. Well, isn't $5 close enough for government work?
Yeah, that's close enough.
That's pretty close, right? So what we're saying is for every $1,000 somebody borrows, their payment is how much money? Roughly right now. About $5 for every 1,000. Well, if they're looking at one house that's $180,000, and they're looking at another house that's $200,000, what's the difference in cost between the two? 20 what? $20,000. So that's 20 lumps of what? What's the payment of 5?
That's $100.
That's $100, right? 20 times 5. I can instantly, boom, $100 difference
Wow.
in a payment.
You can find $100.
Because I know that if you're getting a 30-year mortgage at today's current rates, it's going to basically be $5 for every $1,000 they increase in price. Does that make sense for you guys?
Yeah.
So even though it's very antiquated, it's still very useful to know how to do this. That's what an amortization factor is. We used to have, I gotta go find them. I know I still have some somewhere in a box somewhere. But the banks used to all give us little, we thought they were so fancy. You all remember like in elementary school when you had those little sliding things and it would slide out and you had a little cellophane window in the middle of it? Well, the banks had them, and what you would do is you had a dial on the top and it would say 15-year, 20-year, 25-year, 30-year. So you turn that dial until you got the right term for the loan, and then you would slide that thing up on the left-hand side to get to the right interest rate, and it had a little red window right in the middle of the thing, and there would be the loan factor right there. So you could just, pull it out, and here's your loan factor. And we all knew how to use them because we didn't have mortgage calculators in our pocket. The phone that was in my pocket when I started the business was a Motorola StarTAC. That tells you how long I've been doing this. So, she don't know what that is. All right.
Don't know Motorola.
You know phones have cords. Did you know that? They were tied to the wall. Like you had to. She did know that. She was aware of that.
She's seen that on TV.
Any of y'all have one with like an 800-foot cord that your mom drug around the house everywhere? That was the first cord. That was the first portable telephone, right? One with a 6,000-foot cord attached to it.
I remember the first portable.
You still got one? All right. So we understand the idea of a loan factor. All right. So then just quickly, let's do this then. Let me just write down a quick question and let's see if you can do it. I want to know the monthly payment for principal and interest, because that's what a loan factor will give you. I want to know the monthly PI payment on a $185,000 loan at 5.25% interest for 30 years. Monthly PI payment on a $185,000 loan at 5.25% interest for 30 years. So 5.25, same thing as 5 1/4, right?
I don't know if I did this.
What do you say?
No, I don't think I did.
You might need a straight edge or a piece of paper, to line yourself up. Do we have a amortization factor yet? Have you found it in the chart yet? What's your amortization factor? $5 and how much? $5.53. I'm telling you, it's going to really help you to think of it as dollars and cents, right? Don't say 5.53, say $5.53. That's what an amortization factor is. It's a payment for how much money borrowed. No, that's a payment for how much money borrowed, $5.53, for $1,000. So we need to multiply that payment for every 1,000 that we borrowed. How many thousands have we borrowed? 185 of them. So it's $5.53 times $185. And so what's our monthly principal and interest payment on that note?
$1,023.05.
$1,023.05 per month. Principal and interest. Good? Good. Okay? I mean, it is very straightforward. Once you get it to click in your brain, it's very straightforward. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding it. So, if I want to know what's going to the principal interest, I would times it by 5.25.
If you want to know how much is going toward the principal, then you would need to calculate the interest and remove it.
Okay.
And could we do that?
Because I think
We absolutely could. We could take, if we wanted to know how much of that was going toward principal, we could say $185,000 times what?
5.25.
5.25%, which would give us $97,1250 per year in interest. Okay, $97,1250 divided by what?
12.
Divided by 12. So of that payment, $809.38 is what? Is interest monthly. So of that $1,023, $809.38 is interest. So if you wanted to see how much was principal, you could simply subtract it out, because that payment is principal and interest combined. Okay, are we feeling okay about that? All right. So on the test, you know, generally speaking, it is possible they give you the chart. Most likely, though, they're simply going to give you an amortization number. They would just say that if the loan amortizes at. So you need to get comfortable with that terminology. You need to get comfortable with seeing the loan amortizes at 5.37. You're going to read that as the loan amortizes at $5.37 per thousand. Okay, we all good on that terminology? All right, good. So like here's another example. It says a borrower obtains an 80% loan-to-value loan. Remember we talked about loan-to-value ratios last time? What do you use a loan-to-value ratio for? To calculate what? How much you are borrowing. A loan-to-value ratio helps you calculate how much you're borrowing. Everything we're doing tonight builds on last night. So if you haven't gotten down what we got last night, you got to go back and look, because this whole chapter builds on itself. So that loan-to-value ratio is going to help us calculate the loan amount itself. So it says we're getting an 80% loan-to-value loan at 6.25% interest for 15 years in order to purchase a $325,000 home. And they want to know what the monthly principal and interest payment is. So talk to me, how would we calculate a monthly principal and interest payment? What things did we need to know? From this example, what did we need to know? We need to know how much we're borrowing. Is that fair to say? And we don't have that here, but can we calculate it? Yes, because we have the value of the property and we have the loan-to-value ratio. So that's going to be $325,000 times what? 80% loan-to-value. Our loan amount is $260,000. Are we okay with that? Now, once we know our loan amount, we need to go look up the amortization factor or the loan factor. That's where the chart comes into play. So what two numbers do we need to go to the chart with? The term or length of time and what? And the interest rate, right? So how long's the term? 15 years. So you're going to get down and find the 15-year column. And then you're going to go all the way down till you see 6.25% interest. Should be $8.57. Does everybody see that as your loan factor or amortization factor? All right. And now we want to multiply that times the loan amount. But not the full loan amount. What are we going to drop off the end? The zeros, right? There's 3 zeros going to go away. The thousands are going to go away. So it's $8.57 times 260. And that is our monthly payment of $2,228.20. Shaking your head because you don't like that number, or you shaking your head because you don't know how we got that number? You don't like that number. It's just money. They print it every day. That's why you're here, right? To get more of it.
Yes.
No, we here for you, Travis.
It's just for me?
No, that's
Just
what
for the
it's all
nightly
about.
entertainment?
It's all about
You
it.
got your diabetes shirt on.
Ain't got time for that.
Nobody got time for that? All right, are we good on this loan factor, amortization factor stuff? Okay? Because I need your brain to be settled and not addled. No, why? Why no? Talk to me.
No, I'm just reading without looking at what you did. I think my issue is looking at the question and trying to figure out what I need, what I have to do, what am I looking for?
Well, what are you looking for? What does it ask you? Where's the question? Find the question.
Monthly principal and interest.
Okay. So how do you calculate a monthly principal and interest payment? Work your way backwards.
Right, that's what,
You gotta work your way backwards. How do you calculate that? You know?
my brain runs slow enough.
No, it's all right. But you gotta work, rather than looking at it and letting it swim around, work your way backwards and say, okay, to calculate a monthly principal and interest, I need the loan factor. I need that amortization factor. And I need the loan amount. So then quickly you'd realize, well, I don't have the loan amount. And so that means you gotta calculate the loan amount. I will tell you, to give you a cheat, on any loan-based question, are you gonna need to know the amount of the loan? Yes. So if they don't give it to you, that's step one. Let's calculate the loan amount. Because anything that's loan-based, the loan amount is going to be a really important number. So if they give you a sales price and a loan-to-value ratio, you may as well deal with that first and get a loan amount. Because you can't do finance questions with sales prices. You got to have loan amounts. Okay? So that's a good first starting point. Always.
I see what she was saying because I understand the steps and how you, I mean, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at it on your slide versus looking at it on an exam.
On the test question, I get it.
So,
No, I understand that. For sure.
Since you have all these formulas swimming in your head,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, I'm not as quick. So what you're saying, I'm writing, but it's not.
And that's what that's good for. That's why the videos are there, to go back and watch them again. So when you have time to pause and stop and go and rewatch the same 5 minutes over and over and over until you got it, right? Especially in these chapters. Because they're great references to do that with.
So the most important thing is that we realize that, well, I wouldn't say most important, I guess, is that we just got to get that loan amount first, because, and when you see that 80%, almost first loan, you almost don't know what to do with it.
Right.
But the point to it is that they didn't put the whole, they put down 20, but they got
That's
loan
exactly
for
right.
80.
So we need to know how much they borrowed.
They borrowed.
We got to figure out how much they borrowed because it's a loan question, so the loan amount matters. And that loan-to-value ratio is going to get us to the loan amount. And for almost every question from now on, that's how they're going to give it to you, because that's a real-world problem, to figure out the loan amount. Generally speaking, nobody's just going to walk up to you and say, oh, well, they're borrowing $180,000. The way they're going to say it to you is they're borrowing 80% loan-to-value. So you're going to almost always, even in the real world, have to be able to calculate how much they're borrowing. Okay? Now, prepare to be confused. Discount points.
Deeper.
Discount points.
I really
What if I told you that the interest rate you get on the loan is not up to the bank, but up to you? Completely your choice. It is completely your option to choose whatever interest rate you would like to have on that loan. The question is, how much is it worth to you? because that choice does not come for free. A discount point is just a tool that allows you to choose your own interest rate. It discounts the interest rate. What do you think that means it does with the interest rate?
Take it down,
It lowers it. A discount point lowers the interest rate. Well, is that good for the borrower over the course of the loan to have a lower interest rate?
Yes.
Because that's going to equate to a lower what? Lower monthly payment. Substantially lower monthly payment. Less interest paid over the life of the loan. You think the lender's going to do that out of the goodness of their heart? No. What do you think they want in return for giving you a lower interest rate over the life of the loan? They want money up front. We call them a discount point because you're getting a discount. So imagine this. You want to go on vacation next spring. And you start looking at hotels right now. Some of you have probably done this. And you look at the hotel and you think, okay, I'm going to book the hotel. And you go on there and you get ready to book it and there's two prices. There's one if you pay now, and then there's a different price if you wait and pay at the time of your stay. How many of you have experienced that?
If you go to the counter, it's totally different.
If you go up to the counter, it's a different price than if you pay now. Because if you pay now, they've got your money now, so they're willing to do what?
Give you a discount.
Give you a discount. The downside for you is you took on all the risk because you paid what?
Up front.
Up front. You paid in advance. You paid up front. That's a discount point. You can pay the bank interest up front, but it's going to be less. It's going to be less interest than if you wait and pay it over time. So that's the upside. The downside is it takes a long time for you to catch up to the point where you've saved as much as you paid up front. It takes 8 years to catch up. It takes you 8 years to get to the point where you just break even on what you paid them up front versus what you've saved. Does that make sense for everybody? So, somebody should only even consider buying discount points if they are planning to keep that loan for at least how long? 8 years. At least. They really don't get any benefit from the discount points unless they're planning to keep the loan for much longer than that, because that's just the break-even point. To actually get to the point they sit. Now, if they're going to keep that loan for 30 years, are discount points a good idea?
Yes.
Yes. But how many people keep the same mortgage loan for 30 years? Forget, how many people even keep the same property for 30 years? What's the average time in a house now in the United States? 5.5 years.
That's it.
5.5 years, average. Now, so if somebody's going to sell their house in 5 or 6 years, do discount points make sense? No. Even the people that stay in their house for 15 or 20 years, what do they probably do over the course of that time they've owned that property?
Refinance.
They refinance, and you've lost the benefit of the discount points if you what? If you refinance. Because that discount point, you pay the whole thing up front in exchange for lowering that interest rate over the life of that loan. Well, if you're not going to keep the loan for the life of the loan, that's probably a bad deal. Everybody with me on that? Lenders love it when you buy discount points because they know you're probably going to lose on that deal, because they know odds are you're going to do what within the first 8 years? Sell it or refinance it. And if you do, not only did they get your money in advance, they actually got more than they would have gotten if you had paid them over time. Does that make sense for everybody?
I just realized this is kind of like a gamble, because
Very much a
interest
gamble.
rates may go down. Like you think you're buying your interest down, and then interest rates naturally go down, and you're like, oh.
And now you want to refinance into the lower rate, and you wasted all the money that you paid for the discount points.
Yeah, you can actually.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's very much a gamble to do them. Is everybody with me on that? By the way, they can also work in reverse. With a discount point, who's paying who money? The borrower's paying the lender upfront money. How many of you have ever heard of a no closing cost mortgage? There's no such thing. There's no such thing. Every mortgage has closing costs because you got to pay the people who are writing the mortgage, originating the mortgage, underwriting the mortgage. But what's happening is the bank is paying the borrower's closing costs. The bank is forking over that cash. Well, think about a discount point. With a discount point, the borrower's paying the bank money up front in exchange for what kind of an interest rate? Lower. What do you think is happening if the bank is paying the borrower's fees up front? In exchange for what? A higher interest rate. The borrower's choosing to have the bank pay their closing costs in exchange for accepting a higher interest rate over the course of that loan. So discount points can actually go in either direction in the real world. Now on the test, we only do them in the downward direction. They're called credits when you do them in the opposite direction. We only do them in the downward direction. I need you to understand the philosophy of a discount point because you'll never get the math. I can promise you that. You will never in a million years even have a prayer of doing the math with these things if you don't understand the concept of it. Do you get the concept? Because if you don't, you need to speak up so we can talk you through it and get you to it. You're paying advance interest. It is interest. And you're paying it up front in the hope that you will do what over time?
You'll get a discounted rate,
You'll
save some
get a
money.
discounted rate and save some money.
Save some
But
money.
it takes a long time to get to the point where you're saving money. Does that make sense for everybody? Yes,
Is
Jacob.
this a good time to ask about APR? Because I don't fully, is that like the added cost put into what you realize?
What's the difference between an interest rate and an APR? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm not.
An APR factors in all the closing costs, the origination fees, discount points, all of that. It's factored in
Over
to
the whole term?
over the whole term.
Okay, all right.
That's what an APR is. It's the true cost of a loan versus just the raw interest rate. It also includes things like mortgage insurance because the APR is much higher in some loans than the actual interest rate. Like for example, you go out and get an FHA loan at 4% interest, but your monthly mortgage payment looks much more like you're at 5.5% because of the monthly mortgage interest charge that's on there. And so an APR takes all that into account. That's the difference.
Okay.
It's a true cost number. Okay? Do we understand the basic concept of a discount point here? Prepaid interest. What is it going to do to the interest rate? It's going to lower it. Who's going to pay a fee for it?
The buyer.
The borrower, buyer, is going to pay a fee for this thing. So the two pieces of math that you're going to have to do here, what do you think they are? Based on what we just said, what do you think the two pieces of math you're going to have to do? If they lower the interest rate, what's the natural question? Think. By how much do they lower the interest rate? That's one piece of math we're going to have to do. And what's the other natural question you would ask about it? If somebody said, well, you can pay us and we'll give you a lower interest rate. The first question will be how much lower interest rate? That's one question. What would the second question be? How much is it going to cost me? Those are the two pieces of math we have to do for discount points. You need to be able to calculate the charge for them, how much they cost, and you need to be able to calculate how much they would change that interest rate. Does that make sense for everybody? Okay? So, discount points, the cost. The cost is a very simple number. This is the easier of the two things to deal with by far. The cost is simple. Each discount point costs 1% of the loan amount. So whatever amount they're borrowing, a discount point would cost 1% of that amount. So on a $200,000 loan, how much would a discount point cost? What's 1% of $200,000? $2,000. With me? Because y'all sure as hell seems zoned out. I'm going to make you stand up all night. I will. I will do it. I'm going to stand up and jumping jacks. Because I'm telling you, if you don't know this, you're wasting your time the rest of the class. You will fail this class if you don't know finance. This is fully half the math on the whole test, these two chapters. You will fail. 100% without doubt will fail if you don't know the math in these two chapters. So you can sit there and you can zone out and you can twiddle your hair, you know, it sucks. It does suck, but you got to damn well know it. I'm telling you. I mean, I'm not trying to be nasty at all. I'm just trying to wake you up and rattle you loose about how important this is. This is life or death right here. You have wasted 2 months of your life if you don't learn what we've talked about the last 2 nights. It's that straightforward. And those of you who've taken the class before, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, discount points, yes.
I mean, all of this. Yeah, right. I mean, this is it right here. And I know it's tough to zone in, but you have got to do it. You cannot sit there. You can't. You have to focus on it. So, when we talk about the cost of a discount point, how much do they cost? How much money do you have to fork over out of your pocket as soon as you sign on the dotted line for that loan for one discount point? 1% of what? The loan amount, not the purchase price, the loan amount. So 1% of the loan amount. So if we're borrowing $200,000, how much is that one discount point going to cost? We got to write a check for $2,000 for that one discount point. What if we're buying 3 discount points? $6,000.
So now, when you say buy 1, buy 3, so if it's at 5% and I want to take it down to 4%.
We ain't got there yet. That's how much we changed the rate.
Oh, so that's
We ain't got there. No. That is discount points, but that's the other half of discount points.
Okay.
We got to figure out how much we pay for them first before we can talk about how much they change the rate.
Oh,
Okay? You got to keep them separate, because that's the other thing you're going to do to yourself. You try to jumble it all together. They are 2 separate things. They cost one thing. They accomplish or change the rate a different thing.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay? So the cost is always going to be 1% of whatever amount's borrowed. So a $350,000 loan, how much does the discount point cost? $3,500. $100,000. loan, how much does a discount point cost? $1,000. How much would 2 discount points cost on a $100,000 loan? $2,000. Okay?
And why do we want 2 discounts? I mean, I don't.
Why do you want to do it? What does a discount point do?
It lowers the interest.
So why would you want 2 of them?
The more you buy up front, the better your interest is going to be.
That's exactly right. You buy 2 because you want to go down twice as much. You buy 3 because you want it to go down 3 times as much. You can buy as many as you want. You want to buy 8 discount points? More power to you. How much is each one costing that $200,000 note? $2,000. So how much? 8 discount points. How much would it cost? $16,000 up front.
Up front.
On the day you close.
They ain't getting none of that.
Now we need to talk about what do I get for that whopping amount of money? What comes to me? What is the reduction in my interest rate? Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's the other half of the puzzle. And here is the reduction. Not 1%, not 0.5%, not 0.25%, 1/8%.
Huh?
The loan interest rate gets reduced for every discount point you purchase by 1/8%. 1/8. That's a big number, ain't it?
And it's only one.
I'm sorry?
Only one.
Only 1/8. You got a calculator in front of you. Type 1 divided by 8 into your calculator and see what that equates to. 1 divided by 8. Point what? 0.125. There's your rate change right there for a discount point. So your question was, why would you buy 2 of those? Well, multiply that number times 2. Because that number sucks. That's why you want to buy 2 of them, right? But they are expensive, aren't they?
It changes the payment $14 a month on a $200,000 house.
Ish.
At 30 years.
Ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did have to have my $14. That's
$14 for $2,000. What'd I tell you? It takes you how long to break even?
8 years.
8 years.
So why did they design something like this? Why did this even come up?
Why did they design it? Because they're the bank. They want you to do it.
Oh, okay.
Because people do it. If you're a banker, are you excited when somebody wants to buy discount points? Yes. Because they're writing you a check. Right up front. Now, do they come out ahead if they keep that loan for a very long time? Yes, but gosh, they have to keep it for a long time to come out ahead. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now, go ahead, Marlon.
So back in the day when people used to keep their houses, at 20, 30 years,
Yep.
this was beneficial.
It made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense if you were gonna keep not only the house, but the loan, right? If you didn't expect that interest rates were gonna go down naturally, and you thought, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and lock in my best rate right now because I got some cash laying around, it makes sense if you're gonna stay in that loan for a long time. But if you're not, if you don't expect, unless you just absolutely know for sure you're not gonna refinance this thing or sell it, discount points don't make sense. They just don't make financial sense in that regard. So, 1 divided by 8 is what? 0.125. That number is a magic number because that's how much the rate is going to go down every time you purchase 1 discount point. So let's say the interest rate was 5 and you buy 1 discount point. Can you, in your calculator, just type 5 minus 0.125. What's the new interest rate? 4.875%. And it costs you 1% of the loan to make that happen. Does that make sense for everybody? And so it's a very expensive proposition. So here's an example type of test question. It says Zelda is purchasing a home and wishes to lower her interest rate from 6% to 5.5%. How many discount points will be required to accomplish this goal? So she wants to lower her rate how much? 0.5.
0.5.
Because she wants to lower it from 6 to 5.5. Does that everybody see that? So can we just subtract 6 minus 5.5 to get how much she wants to lower that thing? And how much is it? 0.5. And how much is each point going to lower it? 0.125. So divide that, 0.5 divided by 0.125, and that will tell you how many points she needs to lower that interest rate by that 0.5%. She needs what? 4. So how many points do you think it would take to lower the whole interest rate, a whole percent? 8 points. 8 points. That was your question from earlier, right? You know, if you wanted to lower it from 6 to 5, how many? You need 8 points to do that. Because each one's going to lower it what? 1/8. So it takes 8 of them to lower it by a full percent. This is 4 points, which would be 4% of the loan balance. So on that $200,000 loan, this would be $8,000 to lower the interest rate from 6% to 5.5%. It's expensive.
What? You said 200, oh, that'd be 8, because 4 times 2, okay.
Yep. Yes, sir.
You know that when we had our loan, it was a certain percentage, it may have been 4.5%. I don't remember for sure, but it was enough to where the rates had gone down enough where refinancing made sense. I called around the banks, and I actually got a bank to refinance for $850, and all it cost me that I was throwing away. The rest of it, the prepaid I took out, and literally he did it for a deal. You know, instead of paying $3-4 grand, I paid $850.
Right. So
which was a great deal.
They were giving you a credit based on the discount points. They were probably raising the rate by 1/8%, which they can do when rates are really low and you don't notice it.
But, I mean, I know there was a certain rate, the rates had gone down, I went to another bank, looked at all the different banks, and I said, I'm not gonna pay all this, you know, whatever, he made me a
They shaved the rate.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we lowered our rate quite a bit.
Sure.
Quite a bit, for a lot less money than
Yep. They're using credits with it.
later.
Okay. Do you understand so far? So good on this? All right, so here's what an actual test question would look like. This is a great example of a discount point test question. It says Barney's purchasing a home for $425,000, obtaining an 80% loan to value, 30-year fixed rate loan at 5% annual interest. In order to get this rate, he was required to purchase discount points, buying the rate down from 5.25%. Based on this information, how much is Barney charged at closing for the discount fee? So, Kathy, what's the question here? What are they asking us?
What is charged?
So,
Discount.
so they want to know how much the charge is for the discount points. So what do you need to know in order to figure out how much discount points are going to cost? You need to know how, what?
I need to know the loan.
You need to know the loan amount and what else?
The
You don't need to know the interest. How much does a discount point cost?
0.125.
That's how much it changes. Help her out. How much does a discount point cost? It costs 1%. So to figure out how much the charge is, we need to know how many of them to buy. Does that make sense for everybody? So working our way backwards, we need to know how many discount points. Is everybody with me on that? So that's going to be the first thing you can work on here. If you're working your way backwards to your destination is, how many discount points? Well, we want to buy the rate down from what? 5.25 to what? To 5. Can we figure out how many points it takes to do that? Yeah, because we can subtract those two numbers. We needed to change the rate by 0.25. And we know each point is going to change that rate by what? 0.125. So 0.25 divided by 0.125 would tell us we need how many points? 2. 2 points. We need 2 points. And how much is each point going to cost us? Because remember, that's our goal. 1% of the loan value. Well, now we have another roadblock because we don't know the what? We don't know the loan value. Can we calculate the loan value?
Yes.
Yep, we sure can. $425,000 times 80% loan to value will give us the $340,000 loan amount. Does that make sense? So now we have the two things that we need to know in order to calculate a discount point charge. We know the loan amount, which is what Kathy told me we needed. Perfectly right. And we know the number of points that it takes to get us to where we want to go. So what are we going to do? $340,000 loan times how many percent? Each one going to cost 1%, right? And then times how many points? 2 points. So $6,800. $340,000 loan amount times 1% for each point times 2 points is $6,800 for the discount points. You got to create a roadmap for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to get a bunch of numbers swimming around on a page and you're not going to know what to grab onto. And you have to start from the question they ask you and work backwards. So, you need to focus in on the question and know exactly what you need to answer that question. How much do discount points cost? Well, what you would do is you go back and you look at the slide and you say, how much do they cost? Well, what did I need to know? I needed to know the loan amount and I needed to know the number of points, right? Those were the two things I needed when we're talking about how much they cost. And then you come back to the question and you say, okay, what do I have from that? You just have to work your way back in segments and steps like that. But I will tell you, mastering the math is all about mastering the theory in this chapter. If you don't understand what a discount point is, you got no prayer of doing the math. That's the truth. So until you get a real comfort level with what it is, what's going on, you will struggle with the math of it. Once you understand the concept of it, the math of it will make sense. Now the other thing you can do, I always thought it didn't make any sense. You can memorize the number of points it takes to change by certain amounts. 0.25 is always going to be 2 points. 0.5 is always going to be what? 4 points. 1%, 0.75 is always going to be what? 6 points. 1% is always going to be what? 8 points. So if it's in between one of those numbers, it's going to be one of the odd ones, right? You know, if 0.25 is 2 points and 0.5 is 4 points, well, 0.3 something better be what? 3 points. So you can memorize it. I would prefer if you divide it by the 0.125 because I think that shows a better level of understanding rather than just try to like memorize some chart. But whatever works for you is what you're going to have to do here. Okay? The key to remember is you're working with two different percentage numbers. The 1% of the loan amount is how much the discount point costs, how much you have to pay to make it happen. And the 1/8% or 0.125 is how much it does what? How much it buys the rate down, how much it changes the rate. It's fun, ain't it? I told you. I told you. What questions you got? Yes, ma'am, Marla.
I think because we don't see you writing everything out on the board.
You think because you don't see me writing it out?
On the board, it's like it's going
Here's the
on.
problem with that. If I write it all out on the board, then y'all don't write it down and you don't have it to take with you. If I put it in the slide, you do have it to take with you. So as you know, I can do both. I can write it down on the board and give it to you in the slide. I suppose I'm all ears for whatever helps.
It does help for you to go through your samples, practice like that.
Well, and we're gonna do that, but you know, I feel like you also need an example that's worked out to take with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is most definitely needed. So we gotta go back tomorrow and look at it over and over.
Yep. Okay. You gotta zone in on what are they asking me for? How much do the discount points cost? Well, if somebody sent you to the grocery store and said, how much do the bananas cost? The first thing you want to ask them is, well, how many do I have to buy? Same thing here, right? How much are the discount points going to cost? The first question should be, well, how many do I need to buy? And the only way you can figure out how many you need to buy is by looking at how much you need to change the what? The interest rate. Because the change in the interest rate is going to tell you how many you need to buy. And that's the way you have to work your way to it. Okay?
But
Yes,
this
ma'am,
one, you
Michelle.
know the value.
I think maybe, see, I'm a couponer. So I think perhaps maybe I need to think of this like you said with the banana situation. I'm going into the store, how many coupons
Do you need to use?
to get my product for?
I'm telling you, if you can coupon, you can do this math. Because coupon is way more complex than this is. Way more. Because doesn't each coupon lower the price of the product by a certain amount?
Yes.
And if you want to figure out how much you're going to lower, if you wanted to lower, here's a question for you. If you had 50-cent coupons and you wanted to lower the price of the paper towels by $2, what would you do?
Well, first of all, I would go to Harris Teeter because they do this.
Stop all that. What would
She
you
said she's
do?
trying to get dope for it.
How many coupons would you need? You need 4 coupons. Because what you did was figured out how much you wanted to change the price, right? And divided it by how much each coupon changes the price. Same thing with the discount points. How do you figure out how many you need? You figure out how much you want to change the rate, and you divide it by how much each one does what? How much each one changes the rate. And that'll tell you how many you need to buy. Once you know how many you need to buy, you know what the cost is. The cost is always the same thing. It's 1% of the what? What do they cost? 1% of the loan amount. So whether you're buying 3 discount points, 2 discount points, 3 discount points is 3% of the loan amount. 2 discount points is 2% of the loan amount.
So those are things we gotta memorize, the 1% of the loan amount and the 1/8 equal 1.25.
Not 1.25, 0.125.
Oh, yeah, point.
You don't have to memorize that 1/8 equals 0.125, by the way.
Math.
You've got a calculator in front of you. 1 divided by 8. You can type that into the calculator. You just have to remember 1/8
1/8.
or 0.125, but you don't have to remember both.
I like the 0.125.
Fraction, I freak out.
I generally prefer 0.125 as well, but you don't have to remember both is what I'm saying, because they are the same number. 1/8 and 0.125 are the exact same number.
Because the 1/8, you said that one is shoot.
Let me ask,
When did you
let
say
me,
1/8?
huh? 1/8, that's what it changes the rate, 1/8.
But that's the same as you said the 0.125.
It is the same thing as 0.125.
Okay.
Divided
by 8.
Because 1 divided by 8 is 0.125.
Okay.
They are exactly the same thing. Let me show you something. How many of y'all like pizza?
Yeah. In my 8 slices.
How many slices are most pizzas divided into?
8.
So, if I wanted to eat a quarter of the pizza, how many pieces would I eat?
2. You said
Quarter of the pizza?
Yeah, 2. Yeah, cause, 2.
Isn't that a quarter of the pizza? So if I want to change the rate by 1/4%, how many slices of pizza do I need to eat? 2. If I wanted to eat half the pizza, how many slices do I need to eat?
4.
So if I wanted to change the rate by 0.5%, how many slices of pizza do you need to eat?
4.
How many discount points do you need to buy? 4. It's the same thing. If I wanted to eat 3/4 of the pizza, how many slices would I need to eat? 6. And so how many points would I be buying? 6. Does that help? I can bring pizza to the test. If I thought it would help, I'd serve pizza when you get to the question.
And each pizza is worth 1% of the loan.
Each one costs, each slice that you eat costs 1%. So when you figure out how many slices of pizza you want to eat, then you got to figure out how much it's going to cost you for those slices of pizza. So if you wanted 6 slices of pizza, how much are you going to have to pay? 6 what? 6 discount points, but how much does that cost? 6 what? 6% of the loan amount. So take the loan amount and multiply it by what? 6%.
So that's just as easy.
Okay? So, you want to change the rate by 1/4%. How many slices of pizza?
2.
So how many discount points?
2.
How much is it going to cost? 2% of the loan amount. Congratulations.
Whew.
That's it.
And that was like giving birth.
I don't know. I can't sympathize, empathize. I don't know, but
They were hard on nobody.
it was hard.
Even a good try would go back and forth on a doggy door.
Yeah, right. It was true. I did go back and forth through the dog door. But hopefully that helps, because realistically that's all it is. When you divide something into 8s, I think if you just draw that out, sometimes it will help you, right? You know, like if you just draw a picture and think about what you're doing, you can pretty much see. Because a quarter is going to be 2 slices. Every quarter, or 0.25 is a quarter, right?
Yes.
Every quarter is going to be 2 slices. So are you buying 2 slices? You're buying 4 slices. Well, if it's more than 2 and less than 4, how many slices do you need? 3, right? So
I was trying to process what you said.
So here's what I'm saying. You want to change the rate, 0.375. You don't need to memorize that that's 3 points, because you know it's more than 0.25. And 0.25 would be how many? 2. It's less than 0.5, which would be how many? 4. So what's the only number in between those two? 3. It must be 3 points. All right, how about 0.785? Write down how many points that would be. I want to change the rate by 0.785. How many points is it?
6 points. It's 2 fake.
I mean 0.875, sorry, not 785. 0.875, my brain's not working. 0.875. 0.875. How many points is that? That's 7 points. Does that make sense to everybody?
No.
Why not?
How is it 7 points?
How is it not 7 points?
0.875.
What would 0.75% be? 0.75. How many points would that be? Think of the pizza. 3/4 of the pizza. How many slices have you eaten? Stop doing math. 3/4 of the pizza. How many slices is a quarter of the pizza? How many slices is it?
25.
20, how many?
0.25.
Yes, that's a quarter, but how many slices of pizza is it? Look at the pizza.
Okay.
I want a quarter of it. How many slices is that?
Oh, 2,
Yes. How many slices is half of the pizza?
4.
4, which would be point what?
0.25 for the 2. 0.5.
Half is 0.5, right?
Yes.
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 A quarter is 0.25. Half is 0.5. How much is 3/4?
0.75.
There you go. And so how many slices would that be? No.
Yes, it is.
3/4 would be the whole thing. Yes. 3/4 is 6, and how many is the whole thing? 8. Well, if 3/4 is 6, what is the? Give me the decimal for 3/4. Point what? 0.75. What's the decimal for the whole thing? 1, right? So is that number not more than 0.75 and less than 1? It has to be 7 points then. Because 6 would be 0.75 and 8 would be 1. So the only number left in between them is what? 7 points.
Now that's deeper for me than just going with.
Well, it is for me too. To me, it's like going to Cairo to get the carry. But I'm trying to help y'all. I'm not doing it for my benefit.
That's just way too deep.
Because I can tell you what I would do. I would do 0.875 divided by what? 0.125. Because each one changes the rate by 0.125. But I'm trying to give people who, for whatever reason, can't latch onto that, something else to latch on to. Here's the other thing. Folks, there's only 8 possibilities. You have a blessed calculator in front of you. Start typing. 1 divided by 8, 2 divided by 8, 3 divided by 8, 4 divided by 8, until you see what number? 0.875. And when you see 0.875, guess what? That's the correct number of points.
That worked out,
Huh? That works out? So if it's 0.25, just do 1 divided by 8, 2 divided by 8. Oh, there it is, 2 points. Whatever it takes to get you to be able to calculate that number of points is where we need to get you. Because if you can't come up with the number of points, you can't come up with the charge for those points. Bless you. Wow. Wow. How many discount points is that? I don't know.
I like that last example that you used when was showing was the last one that you said.
Which one was that? You're talking about 1 divided by 8, 2 divided by 8, 3 divided by 8? All right, process of elimination. Use that.
But I also like the 8.75 divided by 1.
0.875.
What did I say?
You said 8.75. It's 0.875 divided by 0.125.
I like that because trying to visualize it with the pie chart kind of had me.
You only need one way. So whatever way works, that's what you latch on to. Okay?
If you want to change the rate.
That's it.
Points, points, 875.
Right, if you wanted to change the rate by, change it downward by 0.875, you would need to buy 7 discount points, right? So, if you have a $225,000 loan, how much is that going to cost? How much does each point cost?
2,200.
1%, so what will we multiply this by to get the cost of those discount points? 7%. You can do by 1% and then by 7, but you also just do what? 7%. So how much is the charge for those discount points? 15, how much? $15,750 to buy down that rate with 7 discount points.
Plus they have to put down the 20% down, right?
Plus their down payment, plus their origination fees.
They borrow.
Okay?
You need a break, Travis.
No, I know. But And I told you in advance it was going to be one of those things. And here's the thing. When it clicks for you, you will literally go, oh my God, I am a moron. You literally will. For the rest of your life, you'll walk around laughing at yourself going, I cannot believe I couldn't understand discount points. Because when it clicks, it'll be like tying your shoes. It'll be like you never will forget it ever again. And I'm sure some of your classmates who didn't understand it at one point, who finally got it, will tell you that. Because once it clicks, you'll have no confusion about it whatsoever. But you've got to keep at it until you get it to click. Because once it clicks, it's there. And you're definitely going to see it on the test. It's one of those things that you're definitely going to see. So I want to make sure you're good with it.
So for testing purposes, these are the numbers we need to know and multiply that.
Period. 0.125 is the rate change, and the cost is 1% always. They won't give you, in the real world, the cost can vary somewhat. But for test taking purposes, they use 1% and 1/8%. They call it the rule of thumb.
Okay.
I don't know whose thumb, but somebody's. Okay?
So all I gotta do is figure out the difference that the rate has changed from and divide that by 0.125% and I'm good to go.
I could go kiss her right now. I swear I could. Yes! Yes, ma'am.
Agree quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
Agree quickly.
I need to go home and retire right now. I have climbed Mount Everest right there. Y'all witnessed it. No, but that is the perfect explanation of what you do with discount points. Figure out how much the rate has changed and then divide that by 0.125 and that tells you the number of points. That's it. That's it. Okay? Alright, so it is break time. Let's take the first break. Be back at quarter till. Somebody today asked me what does the quarter till mean. I'm like, she might be in the room right now. I'm not going to name any names, but another one of the, 23. What are you going to do?
Now take it back to building. Take it back, we. That's my grandma.
What I tell you.